Because the type of movie that Celine Song goes for, I feel like her movies, they try to be so grounded in reality that she creates her own sort of fantasy of a world where people can just openly communicate with each other and just tell each other exactly what they're feeling in that moment without fighting.
And that's in her little world.
Yes, because that doesn't happen in the real world. I think that that's also part of why people feel like it's a lackluster movie, is because we don't get that boiling point. And then like all this drama that just spews out because the characters are. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Most Potato Podcast. My name is Alvin.
I'm Jess.
And today we're going to help you find your match and check off all your boxes and make you a high value person. We're the Materialists. We're talking Materialists. Or Materialist. I don't think there's a plural. Materialist, starring Madam Web.
You're an ass. Would you stop? Leave her alone.
Madam Web, Mr. Fantastic, and Johnny Storm, a.k.a. Captain America, whichever one you prefer. It is a throuple of Marvel superheroes.
And Zoe Winters.
Who's not been in a Marvel movie that I know of. Yes, we're going to be talking about Materialists. I'm excited for this one because we were looking forward to this one for a while. We looked at the marketing and it's like, oh, look, a nice little rom-com. It looks fun and cute. But also, like, we know it's A24. We know it's the director of Past Lives. So I didn't really expect, like, a cheeky, cheesy comedy. But I guess a lot of people did, and then they were disappointed.
I didn't make the Past Lives connection. I didn't dig deep. I just saw Pedro, and I was like, I am there. Take my money, or take Alvin's money, because I didn't pay for my ticket. But still.
I felt the same way, too. I'm like, Pedro Pascal in a romantic dramedy, whatever the fuck this is.
But then when you mentioned A24, I was just like, well, what the fuck is going to happen? Is Lamb going to jump out somewhere and, like, I don't know, make it weird?
Because we're always expecting a weird plot twist with A24 movie. We're excited to talk about this one. I've seen a lot of discourse specifically on TikTok. There's like a lot of women and some men too that I've seen basically headbutting. They're in a war right now of like people that really like this movie and really just shit on this movie.
Damn.
And I did not expect such a split division. But for the most part, people like it. I think I'm seeing more people like it. And I think I'm in the camp for sure of, I enjoyed this movie.
I thought it was a piece of shit.
Damn.
Like, I'm kidding.
Damn.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
No, I liked it, but I guess I understand why there is war now because of this movie. I understand. No, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I don't think it's like great. I don't think it's as strong as Past Lives, but I think it's a solid, good movie.
Yeah, because there's something serious, mature even about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I guess that's kind of what Past Lives was, but I don't remember marketing for Past Lives. I don't know if you saw it and then you're just like, hey, we're going to see this. And I'm like, okay, I'm there as long as you get my ticket. I can't remember how that went. I think if people were comparing or expecting this movie to be kind of like that, or maybe a little bit more than that,
yeah, you'll be sorely disappointed if you're expecting the typical fluffy, extravagant, over-the-top, like, drama and comedy in a rom-com.
I feel like the rom-coms of, like, the early 2000s, the 10s, won't work for now. And I feel like what we get is going to be a little bit different now.
Which we need, honestly. We need something a little more raw.
Yeah, I really do. I think that we definitely do need something like that because... was the last like rom-com movie with Sydney Sweeney and that guy with the face
Glenn Powell?
Why can't I remember that name? I can't.
He's not handsome enough for you.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't hate his face. I like weirdly he's like a weird attractive, but he's just not like a weird enough for me to like be in on it. That was like the last thing that I can remember, and that felt very 2010s, and it just seemed kind of silly now watching it.
It doesn't check off your boxes.
It doesn't not now anyway. Like maybe the old me would have all the boxes, but yeah, I don't know, there's just something, I don't know, maybe I'm old. Am I old? I don't love that just works out and it's just love. I mean, I watched Kitty XO. I don't know how many XOs or where the XOs go, but I watched that and I have so much fun watching that. And I'm just like, this is cute and this is fun. And I'm believing it, even though it's so ridiculous. But there's just some movies that we get nowadays that's supposed to be like the rom-com and it's just not working.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think we need a mixture of more, like you said, more mature, a little more deep, a little more introspective type of romantic stories. Mm-hmm. Because I typically don't go to see these kinds of movies. I'm not like the general demographic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've grown up with some stuff. Like I have like a love-hate relationship with Hitch. Like I enjoyed the shit out of that movie. I know how problematic it is.
A lot of guys, that's like their only like romantic comedy
because
movie
of the main premise of manipulating women into a situation where you get to date them.
And then being a fan of Will Smith probably too. Yeah. I didn't even think of that when once we watched this. I wasn't even thinking Hitch, but I was like, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not the typical demographic, but lately the stuff that I'm into that is involving like romantic partnerships does tend to be something that's a little more, I don't want to say gritty, but just a little more grounded in reality, like scenes from a marriage. Like, oh my god, dude, we have to do an episode on that at some point. Like those kinds of shows really opens up my eyes to like, holy shit, like there's so many varied stories that you could do about relationships.
Would you not Scenes from Marriage, but Marriage Story with Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver? You watched that, right?
Yes, we did watch that.
Do you feel like it gives the same vibes as Materialists?
Fuck no. This is better. This is better than
because that I don't know if I was just laughing at the wrong. Maybe I was laughing at the wrong parts.
There was a reason why the Adam Driver scene of him punching the wall and the yelling was memed to death.
Well, yeah,
it's because there's so many moments where it's just like it's over dramatized, it's overly acted, and the story's really not. It tries its best, but it's not. I can't take it seriously.
I think it's like much. Scarlett Johansson's like haircut, and then like that scene Karen with cut. Him. Yeah, I don't know. I thought about that movie a lot too. And for me, it was like, I think it was just the nasty part of, I guess, a divorce. Not that I've ever been through a divorce, but it just, I feel like it pulled all those parts and the emotion was like at a crazy high, but it was still believable. Like, I feel like if people are arguing or they're separating, however it is, whether it's marriage or just like, you know, a regular relationship, it can blow up like that. But it also was really funny because I feel like if you just watch somebody's like, I don't know, argument, like a couple's argument, and that got put on the internet, you just saw it, you started laughing at it, people would meme the shit out of it because sometimes it just gets so blown out of proportion with the emotions. But this movie didn't really have that.
No, it's
all. Like, it's weird.
It's got a lot of talk no jutsu. It's just a lot of characters just talking their feelings and talking their thoughts. And I think that's what turns off some of the audience that's been complaining about it.
Makes sense, because sometimes I just felt like they have no feelings. Like, there were just some characters that they just accepted things just like, oh, well.
Which I think is the main point, specifically for the Lucy character. I think because there's a lot of complaints about Dakota Johnson's acting, saying that she's flat and icy. And I was kind of worried because that's kind of what I'm used to with some of her bad projects. I haven't seen many of her movies, but her character works perfectly fine. The way that it's written and the way that it's performed, she's supposed to be like this person with a flat affect to the way that she talks, the way that she interacts with people.
Yeah.
Because she's a businesswoman. She's literally looking at everything as math. She says it out loud, like, everything that I do is math. All I have to do is check off what you want on your list and on the other person's list, and then boom, you get a match.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole journey of the character, is going from point A to point B, of being this cold, disaffected person to somebody being like, holy shit, I got feelings. I care about people
but
again.
Even when she got to that point, it wasn't enough. There wasn't.
You don't think it was enough? I
don't feel like she emoted enough. Even to the very end, she was a little more honest with her feelings. But I honestly, I didn't hate it. I didn't notice it so much. I really just took it as that's what the character is. Yeah. And I don't know what's her face again? Dakota Johnson. There's somebody else named Dakota, isn't there?
Dakota Fanning.
Fanning. Yes. Okay. Dakota Johnson. I don't know her. I never will. I don't know. There's just something about how like she speaks.
I think she brings some of her personality into it, because she does kind of talk like that in real life.
I've like watched a couple interviews with her. Like, I've seen some interviews, even some of the like promotion for the movies. Like, there was something with her and Chris Evans. And they were supposed to be like, I think they were making bread, and he like dropped the jar of like yeast they just mixed in there, and like he just was like, oh shit. And then she was like laughing, and it was kind of weird for me to see. She's like in the corner, like choked up with a laughter, And it was just like the funniest thing. But she was like emoting. I really just think it's her face and her tone and just her personality. And I'm like, then I feel like people hate that. And I'm just like, I don't think she's a bad actress. It's possible she could be like a one note, like one tone, like.
I see her as like the female Rami Malek. You kind of know what you're gonna get with a Rami Malek.
Yeah.
He can play different characters, but he's gonna have that monotone sort of drawl.
That
to
movie
his
we
voice.
just saw with him was
The
very Mr.
amateur.
Robot, like.
It was just Mr. Robot. It feels a little more well adjusted
And married. Yeah. But I didn't see anything wrong with it, but I also didn't feel like I got more out of her. I think it was more of just accepting that that's how she was.
Yeah.
And it was more of getting her to be honest about her wants and needs and just speaking that.
So like I didn't expect such a 180 on her personality. I think I expected what you mentioned is she comes to a place where she's now more understanding of other people's feelings. She has more connected with her emotions and her desire for actual love and not just material stuff. And I think the movie pulled it off for the most part. There's like a few flaws here and there, which we'll get into throughout the episode. But I think for the most part, the movie kind of pulls off what it sets out to do. It's supposed to make us have conversations about the dating world that we're in today. I mean, luckily you and I are not like out there in the market because I hear like it's shit out there. I've been hearing that for like a decade.
Yeah, I'd be so alone.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be single for like a good 10 years based on what I'm hearing, like how the dating pool is out there.
Maybe I would do like a dating service eventually and get matches.
I don't know, man. This movie,
for boxes.
This movie scared me off of that too because this is really no different than Tinder. Like it just works like a weird algorithm,
and it costs a lot more.
And it costs way more.
Tinder probably costs as much as that does now. I'm hearing there's ads and
I would stay
paywalls.
Stuck on the free tier. I don't care.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'm not paying for shit.
Be like, you want to see who swiped? You got to watch 10 ads, buddy.
Oh well, I guess I'll throw this app away. I'll be alone forever.
You watch the 10 ads, just find out you got unswiped.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not out there anymore.
I know, we're old and happy.
But yeah, this also makes commentary on the current dating world. It sets out to spark conversations of what is it that we look for in relationships, like for real. Like if we're talking about our deepest, honest truths, what is it that makes us happy about having another person? And is it healthy or is it unhealthy? Because we see different kinds of people looking for different kinds of dates, and you hear like some people that are earnest about wanting love, and then people that are just straight up, listen, man, I just want someone that can make my sister jealous.
Yeah.
Which we do see at some point, which we'll get into in a little bit. Let's just get into like the first part of the movie. So we see that Lucy is celebrating, I think like her 9th pairing of matches. I think,
like the 9th one to get
like engaged and married. Yeah. And when I saw that party being thrown, I don't know how it felt for you, but for me, it felt kind of icky and gross. Like why are we throwing this big birthday party just for you matching somebody? Like you did your job. Why is it such
I thought it was
celebration?
a birthday party. I was just like, oh, that's nice. And it's just like, you matched another one. And I was just like, okay, this is kind of stupid, but a whole party for this?
It was weird, right?
Yeah. I'm like, what happened on the first one? Like, did you guys just do this because she kind of looked like, oh, guys. And I'm like, this is stupid. Does everybody get this? Because isn't that the point? Isn't that you guys' job is to match people to get to the point of a relationship, then marriage?
Yeah.
Like,
we did see later in the movie somebody else get celebrated for setting up a marriage.
Which was really awkward. Was that an awkward conversation that Lucy was having with her boss? And they're just like, come on, guys. And Lucy's just like, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
This thing is going on.
Yeah, and then this party's breaking out through the background and then leaking into the office. But yeah, this initial opening scene of them at this giant, like, not a penthouse, but like this fancy apartment building. They're celebrating her 9th matching of 2 people getting married. And I don't know, it just felt really jarring and gross. I think it was framed to be that way. I think it was meant to be discomforting. Because then there's like a conversation that Lucy has with another coworker out like on the little balcony. And she's talking about the Sophie character. And she's just feeling really bad about not being able to match her with somebody.
Yeah.
And she's coming off of like another bad match. And she's just like, aren't there guys out there that just simply want a nice girl? Like, I don't know how you felt about that. But for me, I'm just like, I feel like that's kind of going to be the main premise of the movie here is this is like the setup, and then she's going to come back to wanting something like that of like, I just want somebody nice that will love me and someone that I can love.
Yeah, because I don't remember exactly what it was that Sophie was looking for, but I think she was like 39 maybe.
Yeah.
Well off. I think she was doing well for herself. I don't know. I think the word fat kept getting thrown around when referring to
The
her.
guy
Was it
kept calling her
referring to
fat, and I'm just like, I was looking
And
at the
then
whole
when
screen. I'm like,
yeah, I was just
fat
like,
where?
Sophie's only in this corner. I don't see her taking up the whole screen. So like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Because where do you see fat? I mean, even if she was fat, what's wrong with fat women? What's wrong with fat people?
And I'm like, she's perfectly fine. Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
So, and that it's weird. Like, they said it once, but then they kept saying it a couple of times that scattered throughout the scenes. When I just started getting annoyed, I was just like, can we just stop calling her fat? Like,
I know.
Like, can you just say that she's weird? Something's wrong with her? I don't know. Nothing was wrong with her.
Yeah,
except that
she's
she just
perfectly
wanted
normal.
love and like a healthy, stable relationship and match. Like,
She was desperate.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she wasn't even desperate.
Well, desperate to find somebody worthy.
Yeah,
Not
but
desperate as in like, I'm just going to settle. She
Yeah,
literally says, I will not settle.
Exactly. So it was really weird to me. So Lucy saying, oh yeah, doesn't anybody just want a nice girl? I was just like, yes. I was like, does no one want Sophie? Like, then I thought something was going to be wrong with her, but really, when we like later scenes, Lucy was like talking on the phone with people, with different guys, or talking in person, and they had like things they wanted in a match. But I felt like that's things you want in a match, like you're hoping that something like that's presented to you, but you get that. Everything else comes into it. I don't know how can you ask for something but you don't know what you're asking for, I would say, because like Lucy matches Sophie with somebody later in the movie and it doesn't work out like at all, but it's just like I don't understand how this would possibly work, like a dating service and like saying this is what I'm looking for in a person, these are the goals, because people lie. Or it's true that this is how this person is, but then they have a whole bunch of other baggage and bullshit that comes into that. And then it's like, okay, you have all the things I want, but this other shit is just, it's a no, it's a deal breaker.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know. I feel bad for Sophie.
I know. She's like the one innocent character, and it's intentionally designed that way because she's kind of like the dying breed of people that's just really out there looking to meet somebody that's genuine and kind and loving. And it makes sense why the story takes place in New York. Like, it's a state that's notoriously bad for dating. Like, I have friends that live there. I see their Instagram stories about these women documenting nightmare stories about the men that they come across. And I feel like that's just commonplace in the US in general, but for some reason New York is like Florida, man. Like, New York is like this weird mythical place where like the worst kinds of dates like could possibly ever happen.
That's wild.
So I think the New York setting was intentional for this movie too. Yeah, the Sophie character was surprisingly charming for me for the little screen time that we have with her. I really liked that she kind of becomes like the moral compass that Lucy develops later on. But before we get to that, I want to get to the moment where Lucy's match decides she doesn't want to get married anymore.
Oh, yeah.
that setup was very interesting. I like that there was like this tension building. I thought a huge messy thing was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like a huge fallout. But again, it just becomes a conversation. It becomes this deep, dark, honest conversation with Lucy and this woman that's in her like wedding dress all ready to go. And then Lucy sees this woman just crying on the bed and she goes, all right, tell me what's going on.
Yeah, she's like, you don't want to marry him, you don't have to, but like, why do you? Like, why did you say yes to him? And it was just really funny because she like wanted to say it, but she's just like, Lucy's like, you could just be honest with me, like, don't even, just be honest. Tell me exactly what it is you're thinking. It's not going to leave this room. It's just between me and you. I didn't think she was going to say anything.
Yeah.
But then when she said, what did she say? She was like, oh yeah, I'm just marrying him because my sister's jealous. Like, it makes my sister really thinks he's a great guy. And if my sister thinks he's a great guy and people think that as well too, then why shouldn't I marry if he's so valuable, basically? Yeah. And Lucy's just like, well, how does that make you feel? And she says it basically makes her feel valuable. And
well, Lucy's the one that puts that in her. She specifically.
Yeah, do you
said,
feel like it was planted there, or
she
she
planted
came to
because
that? She's like,
she's the one that says because that makes you feel valuable.
Yeah,
she was basically trying to articulate a little more sharply what this woman was feeling, and I was like, damn, this is when she said you could tell me the darkest, craziest, awfulest thing, and it won't leave this room. that they lived up to that. When she said, "I'm marrying this man because he makes my sister jealous," I was like, that's so fucking foul. I appreciate that we got the two scenes juxtaposed with each other, right? We saw Sophie having a bad day with this guy because he's superficial. And then we also get a woman who's choosing love for all the wrong reasons, which is, again, she wants to feel valuable. She wants to feel more powerful than her sister. So I like that the movie acknowledges that it's not just focusing on tarnishing like one gender's perspective on dating.
Yeah.
It's looking at both and how so many people in between can look for love for all the wrong reasons. So that scene with the woman that was about to get married, I thought she was going to cancel.
Yeah.
I really thought that when Lucy says, "Oh, because he makes you feel valuable," I thought that was going to be a realization for her for like, shit, I'm not going to go through with this.
She better. He's one of the rich brothers.
Yeah. But then look, we see the fucking wedding happen. There's a nice party. And then after that, we see the lovable hunk, handsome Pedro.
Yes.
Harry. So how did you feel about Harry's introduction in the wedding?
I liked it.
It was sexy, right?
He looked so good in a suit, like a tux. He came in all tall.
Were those eyebrow raises an asterisk next to the word tall? He's tall. He's tall.
Tall. Yeah, no, it was a good scene. I liked how he was at the bar and he didn't go directly to Lucy. They didn't like instantly just have them. He was like hearing
He
her.
sharked his way.
Yes. She was like basically like selling herself and her services for the dating or the matchmaking to these women because they're just like, oh my God, look, this wedding's beautiful and look at the bride. And
here's my card.
Basically, that's what she was doing. I like how they meet eventually and then he approaches her.
Yeah, I felt like I heard some people say that there was no chemistry between those two, but I was like, I felt fire between them. It's like a quiet like storm with them. It's not like this super hot, sensational thing. It's like, no, I could see the attraction with these two people. Especially that scene where he asks her, like, what do you want to drink? Like, I'll get you anything.
Yeah.
And she goes, I want a Coke and beer. And I thought it was like a sick joke. So I'm like, what the fuck kind of nasty combination is a Coke and a beer? And what beer specifically? Like, if you get the very like pissy tasting bitter stuff with a Coke, I don't know how that mixes.
The Coke is probably the chaser.
Maybe. It looked like a straight up fucking commercial too, but I'm like, you know what? It's a sexy enough looking commercial. I'll take it. But then we see that it's not Pedro that summons the drink. We see right there, it's good old John. Good old Captain America.
With his stupid hair.
You really hate his hair in this movie.
God. I don't know why they did it like that.
He's supposed to look just disheveled and kind of like a mess. His whole life is still kind of a mess right now.
You purposely have to do your hair like that. That's not like...
Yeah, as a white man, that you put effort into making it look that messy.
I don't know. Chris Evans was looking a little bit too much from Boston. I didn't really like it. I was like watching him the whole movie. I was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, yuck. I don't like it. No.
Yeah.
No.
So I like that right away they kind of set up that kind of collision between the two men. Obviously, we don't get like the stereotypical clashing of two men fighting over a woman. It's really just left up to the Lucy character. We follow her perspective on who she wants to like decide. I think they did a pretty good job setting up the initial chemistry with Lucy and Harry. And I think they did a decent enough job setting up the John character and how their past was like and why she would maybe still have some feelings for him.
Yeah.
But I think that was also part of my struggle for me too, is we didn't see a lot of moments or scenes where we could believe that they'd be happy together. I don't know. For me, I saw like with the one flashback that we saw establishing the conversation that probably led up to the breakup. I just kept thinking, what are the parts where they actually did like each other?
Exactly. I feel like when he came back, when he dropped off the Coke and the beer, she hugs him. I'm just like, oh shit, Harry, you got a little competition. I don't know what that hug looks like something. But that was like all I had. And then her sneaking out for a smoke to run into him while he was, I don't know, loading the truck for the catering service he's working for. And then they talk, but it was more, the conversations that Lucy and John had was more about how they come from nothing.
Yeah.
How they come from broken families. And money's an issue. Never, oh yeah, you remember that time we this, we that, or oh, we were happy once. Nothing like that. It was always just, we are two doom and gloom individuals who got together to be a doom and gloom couple and and then we broke up because of money. I want someone with money. You hated me because you didn't have money. And that was it. So I really couldn't understand why he would even be in the running.
Yeah, I think because you mentioned that you wish that there was like at least one or two more flashback scenes of like where like they did work together.
I love the flashback scene of them having an argument and why they broke up basically, and it was because of parking.
Yes.
She's just like, I don't know why you drove, and I mean his car's not anything great either, but he has wheels, so that's something. They're his wheels.
Yeah.
But they were fighting about parking. They couldn't find parking. They had a reservation. It was for like their anniversary. And she was just like, I don't understand why it's so wrong for me to want to just celebrate at a nice restaurant, one that they probably couldn't afford at the time, but they probably managed to save up for it. And now you, John, don't want to pay $20 for parking. Like, this is the cheapest parking lot that we're going to find.
She even says, why'd you even bother bringing the car? We could have commuted.
Yeah, we could have commuted.
It's New York.
And then he's just like, no. I'm just like, okay, this is really stupid. And then it just gets to a point where she gets out of the car and she's just like, you hate me because
you can't afford me.
You can't that's basically what you can't afford me. Yeah, like, and she's like, I'm basically going to be resenting you because you don't want to pay for $20 for parking and you're broke and we're broke. And it's just not what she wants.
She specifically says, I know that you're trying and I wish it was almost enough to make me happy. I was like, ooh, that's a burn.
It is.
It's honest, but it hurts.
Exactly. I'm like, it's honest and I like that, but it's also just like, damn. And
where's the good parts?
We can't skip to them like at all. Yeah, I really like that scene that I wanted more. Whether it was more scenes of them arguing about money, or just another scene where there's just like one good day between them.
Yeah.
Why are they together? What makes them? Because now that he's back in her life after all that time, he seems to get her. But I also feel like there's not much of a character to get in Lucy. Or they didn't write it out well enough for us to say, okay, this is Lucy, this is what's going on with her. John sees it and gets it. And that's why her relationship with Harry doesn't really work, because she can't be Lucy with Harry. You were
filling in the blanks.
Yeah. And I
get that
I don't
feeling.
Want to, but I felt like
you should be showing me.
The movie didn't give us enough where it was like kind of okay for me to fill in those blanks a little bit. Like, there wasn't enough. I was really like having to kind of accept the way things are and assume that this is why they are the way that they are.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you there. I would have liked to have seen more reason to get behind the temptation of going back to her ex, because based off that scene alone, I'm like, you seem to know what the main issue is for you personally and why you're not happy. So I'm not sure in this moment reuniting why you feel any sort of temptation to take him back to your bedroom.
He's the same. He doesn't seem like he changed either. Yeah. Like, not even just the financial stuff. It really just seems like he's just been waiting around for her, which I also don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like that in characters. I don't like that in real life.
Yeah, like you haven't found some other legs to get in between during this time of healing.
You haven't found love. You haven't found a relationship. You haven't tried, not legs. You haven't just, Alvin.
Yes. But when Lucy and Harry are on that first date, I was really into the conversation. I was really into just how straightforward each person was.
Yeah.
First of all, speaking of sad, I felt just like devastated for Lucy, for her telling this man, like, what are you doing with me? Like, you could do so much better than me.
I said, that is right. Get out of the chair, girl. Get out of that chair.
What, you're going to jump in the screen?
Yes. I was ready. I was
like, God damn, this level of self-deprecation. Like, Lucy, what are we doing right now?
It's because of the boxes. It's because of her job. They wouldn't match typically. Like, that's why she's saying what she's saying. Like, she's so... It's funny that she can see the issues with checking boxes and, like, things that her clients, they want and that they don't want. And it's like projected onto her as well too. It's something that she realizes, okay, if I was in this role, I wouldn't be good enough for this man. I wouldn't match with him. I wouldn't check the boxes of someone like this. So it's just like, why do you want me? Why are you investing in me? Is what she says.
Yeah, and he goes, I want your immaterial assets. That just instantly gets anyone wet. Like the way that he delivered that line, and then he just leans in closer and he just goes, "You're underselling your shit. Like you really just are underselling yourself right now. I'm trying to tell you right now, you are valuable." Because he asks her like, "Why do you like me?" And then she goes, "Because you make me feel valuable," which is again a parallel back to the conversation she had with her match when she wanted to back out of the wedding.
Yeah,
and then he tells her straight up like, that's what I've been trying to tell you this whole fucking time, dude. Like, you are valuable. Like, otherwise I would not be wasting my time in front of you right now. Like, we could be a really great pair. You check off my boxes, I check off yours. What is the problem? And it was like both really like, I don't want to say romantic because that's not romantic. That was like a good business proposition going on.
Yes.
But it was done in like a sensual kind of way.
It's because he's hot. That's like, you saw the long black, like long sleeve black shirt. I'm a sucker for a black shirt.
And he made a comment too. He's like, "You're talking to me like I'm a caveman." I was like, "You think I'm stupid right now?" Because I feel like that's a low key kind of connection to like the cave people scenes that we got,
which I did.
That bookend the movie.
Trying to push the beginning and the end. I just like,
yeah,
I don't want to talk about that yet. Stupid. I'm sorry. I don't see a purpose for it. But anyways, yeah.
But yeah, he says that, and he just basically flat out says like, "I'm looking for someone I can take care of. Like, I don't need." Do I look like I need a dowry?
Yeah,
that's what he says.
Yes, she does.
I got all the money. I could take care of you and me. Like, that's like not a problem. Like, I want you for the stuff that you can provide me, which is immaterial stuff, and I just want to be able to take care of you.
Yeah.
Like, but they never once say like, I like you because I like you. Like, I want to comfort you and take care of you and just be there for you. That's never on the table.
Yeah.
Which was really disturbing for me to watch at the same time. Like, oh, this is sensual, but also like, damn, this is cold and calculating.
Yeah, it really is. They look good on the outside. And I feel like as the movie progresses, they are together.
Yeah.
They make it official. But it never felt like anything to like gush about or just be like, oh my God, like they're so cute. I love this. Like, I love love. Like, there was no love to love.
I mean, there was walls. She loved his walls.
I mean, that was a nice
the first time that they're
yeah,
first time she comes up, they're making out and she's looking everywhere but him, not even closing her eyes during the kissing, just wow, the walls, the ceilings, the floor, the bed, all the things. Like, that's what she was into more than anything else. So that also, like, I think it was so direct that this movie is trying to be like, listen, this woman, it's living up to the name. It's like Sinners. These are materialistic people. There's something wrong with these people, and we need to see if they ever get better or not. So that I feel like people that complain about like there wasn't enough chemistry, there wasn't enough like drama or anything, I feel like they're really missing the point of what the movie's trying to do. These are people that don't know what love is.
Yeah.
They don't know what it feels like.
Because it could very easily be her life. The next morning she wakes up after they spend the night together and he's already dressed in a suit, ready to go to work, but breakfast is there and ready for her. He doesn't say a single word to her, I don't think.
I think it was on the phone too.
Yeah, he was on the phone, doesn't say anything, just presents the amazing breakfast in the amazing apartment to her, kisses her, and then just takes off. And then that's it. That's what if they would have stayed together, if they would have gotten married, that's what her life probably would have been like on a daily. I mean, she would have had her own things to do. Yeah. But that's it. That's the... Like what?
And there's also like a scene too where for some reason Lucy tries to introduce Harry to John, like when they were going to go to see his play.
I don't know why she did that.
That just came to mind just now. Like, I don't have it in my notes right now, but it just sprung to mind. I'm like, this would be like a typical moment where like there'd be like a big argument or awkward moment with the two male leads. But then that doesn't happen. There's just like this very awkward tension. We see a moment where Lucy is trying to be vulnerable with John at the bar while they're separately hanging out after the show.
Yeah.
And John, again, kind of shows how he's kind of a dick sometimes. He can be a prick because he's just like not taking her concern seriously about her job. He kind of demeans her and says like, oh, you know, you're not doing rocket science or anything. You know, you're just setting people up. And she's like, yes, my job is not very serious. And he goes, no, that's not what I meant. I was like, I don't know, man. That's like, that kind of sounds like what you meant. Because she looked very kind of stressed about her work with trying to match up Sophie with somebody good.
Was this before... What happened to Sophie?
This was before what happens to Sophie.
Okay.
It was right before. Because she's still struggling to find a match for this woman at some point. And again, I think it's kind of reemphasizing that Lucy does care about somebody to some extent because she's really going above and beyond to try to match Sophie with somebody. She doesn't seem to be able to talk to Harry about it, so she's talking to John, and John kind of like brushes that off a bit. But then afterwards, when we do get the news that unfortunately Sophie does get sexually assaulted by the latest match, then that that's when he shows parts of himself where I could be like, okay, now I can see why Lucy would kind of be drawn to this person. Because throughout the whole time when Lucy and Harry are together, we see scenes of her just like sitting upright in bed in the dark.
Yeah.
We see that she kind of wants to lean in and kind of talk with Harry, but it's like he's sleeping. And then also the scene of like his leg like being exposed, and we see like some mark. I thought it was like some drugs that he was taking or
damn,
something.
I thought
I thought he was doing like heroin or something.
I thought he just had like some like traumatic past or accident
fell off a
or
bike.
Something. I don't know. Or his dad used to beat him. And they don't really look like a great rich family.
He's Hispanic, so he could have been beaten. Yeah.
You know? So that's where I thought. I didn't go straight for the heroin, but
that's just me being dark.
There was never any like tension, like anything to make you feel like these two men were gonna get in a fist fight over this woman. Like
no,
nothing like that.
No.
It was, you could tell that they were just, I don't know, they were just staying in their own lanes. Like I said, John was kind of just waiting, and then Harry's just like, well, I have her, so I'm not worrying. We're both two tall guys. It's all good.
I mean, you could see the internal pressure building. They're the two men, they you could see their body language, that they're kind of flustered with each other. They're like, what's great about this guy? Why are we in proximity right now? But yeah, it never bubbles up to that. And I think it's good that it doesn't do that, because, again, I feel like that would just be stereotypical and just... I think it would be forced at this point. Because the type of movie that Celine Song goes for, I feel like her movies, they try to be so grounded in reality that she creates her own sort of fantasy of a world where people can just openly communicate with each other and just tell each other exactly what they're feeling in that moment without fighting.
That's in her little world.
Yes, because that doesn't happen in the real world. In the real world, we get into arguments, we fight a lot. To the point where once we're exhausted, we have to take a break. And then finally, we come to a place of getting our thoughts organized and telling the person what it is that's bothering us. Yeah. I think that that's also part of why people feel like it's a lackluster movie, is because we don't get that boiling point. And then like all this drama that just spews out. We see characters just flat out just telling the characters what they're feeling, what they're thinking. I feel like that could easily make for a boring ass movie.
Yeah.
But I think it works well in this movie, because I felt like the pressure building with Lucy wanting to talk to somebody about the fact that her client got assaulted, and she's genuinely affected by that. And she can't seem to talk to Harry. Like the entire time they're together, not once do we see Harry noticing that Lucy looks off.
Yeah, but John notices it.
Yeah.
And
then they have a phone call about it.
And she tells him basically what's going on, and he's like there to support her, which I liked, but I still didn't get. I don't know if that's just me. There
need to be more than just that.
Yeah.
For us to get behind, like, I could see why she would go back to John.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I like that she's finally able to talk, because it doesn't seem like she has any friends. She can't talk to anybody at work because they're just going to celebrate with a cake or something. And then like all she seems to have a relationship with is Harry and John at the moment. There's like no one else. And then Sophie, but Sophie's angry at her for what happened with the assault. And I don't know. It just, that what happens with Sophie, it does seem to change Lucy, and I just hate that it had to be something like that in order for her to change. I'm like, maybe she did need drama with John and Harry or something like that to have some sort of wake-up call. I don't like that a character had to get sexually assaulted in order for her to see something. And I guess maybe they do it because, look, we were just checking off boxes, and look at how this guy turned out. He hurt this woman.
Yeah.
But I also don't see how Lucy, her character, what she does for her job, can't see that checking off boxes isn't enough. She has like a whole notebook. I remember she goes, after hearing the news of what happened to Sophie, she goes into the bathroom with her notebook, looking at all the notes that she jot down about this person. But I'm just like, this is just a notebook.
It's a checklist.
with checklists and notes, and you have multiple people in this notebook. It's not just one notebook for a person, and even then that wouldn't be enough to really encapsulate what one person really is and if they work for somebody else. So I think it's weird that was a wake-up call for her, to realize, like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? What is this job? How, like, this isn't helping anybody. Look at what happened. Yeah. I did the math. I'm like, this isn't math. Love's not math. And it's weird because Lucy, she wants a rich guy and, someone to take care of her, but also she needs love. She wants all those things, and then she needs love. Is there an equation for love? Because I feel like that's what her character would know, is that there is no equation for love.
I mean, I think that's the main issue with the starting point of this character is she's not looking for love. She's looking to just marry. She says the next person I date will be the man that I marry. And she admits to being materialistic. She only is looking at the superficial stuff that could check things off.
But when she gets all that, love also has to play into that.
Yes, and that's eventually what she comes to realize and remember. It's like at some point she'd forgotten that as a human being, because when you work in a field like this that's so hyper capitalist, like just the dating world is so, it can't be helped but be weighed down by money. Like that's just the world that we live in. Money plays into a factor no matter what. Whether we try to escape it or not, money is kind of an important factor in how our relationship will work, but it can't be the only deciding factor either. But she's unfortunately made that like her main factor. And I think that at that point when she gets the news about Sophie, she's starting to come around to the point of realizing that she can't just be fixated on the money aspect because it doesn't make her feel whole. She's trying to find solace in somebody about this bad news, and she doesn't find it with Harry. And that I feel like that becomes the starting point of her starting to realize, no, love needs to be on the table. And I also had mixed feelings too about the assault being the catalyst for her starting to change her perspective. Because I feel like a lot of times it's easy to do the distasteful thing and have a woman be assaulted for the progress of character growth for the protagonist. But it's also important to highlight the fact that this stuff does happen, sadly. Like, it happens more common than we care to admit in the dating world. That's just a matter of fact. Unfortunately, and I'm going to use the big scary word, guys, patriarchy allows this to happen. We live in a world where patriarchy, it affects every single gender. It's not just like a thing that like men can benefit off of. We benefit from it, but we also are damaged by it. It is a really harmful system. And in the dating world, men feel like they have the power to force themselves on them, because sometimes they do have that power. As we see later on, the police don't do anything about that. So I think in this case, I feel like this is probably the more tasteful depictions of a character being assaulted, because one, they don't even show it. It's just mentioned. And then two, we focus on the survivor. We never once see the man. Like when Lucy goes back to help Sophie, we never once see the guy anywhere.
Yeah, we only hear.
We hear his voice over the phone.
Yeah,
that's about it. And I feel like I feel like lots of people will have different takes on this. And I think this is a subject where there's equal arguments to have of whether or not a sexual assault was necessary for this story. I'm leaning more towards this was probably a little more closer to like necessary, or I'll say tasteful. It didn't feel gratuitous. It doesn't feel like a 13 Reasons Why type of situation where it's like, wait, the person that assaulted you, you're now dating them? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe I'm not a movie writer, so I don't know what the best option would have been, but I can see why Celine Song chose a traumatizing event to really move the character to have a wake-up call and be more empathetic and be less about the numbers. I'm trying to imagine another scenario that would help her wake up from that. I'm sure there's plenty, but I guess she needed something very dramatic or interesting, which again, that sounds kind of gross, but I know she's not coming from a gross place. But
I don't know. I just felt like couldn't she just, I don't know. I don't know how far it had to get, but she could have called the next morning and the guy could have just said like some really like messed up stuff about Sophie. And when she finally did get a hold of Sophie could be like, you know, that guy was just a dick. I don't know. He was an asshole. He was awful. And, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. Everything that Sophie basically said to Lucy after the assault, when Lucy was like staking out her cafe or whatever and waiting to see if she'd run into her. Sophie could have still said all that stuff without there having been assault. It could have been like, this date was the last straw. This guy was just such an asshole and just said the craziest things, behaved the craziest way, and you know, you just threw this guy together for me. Like, all the previous matches don't seem to have been that bad. Sophie seemed to have liked a lot of the guys that she went on dates with, and then they had some stupid reason for not wanting to see Sophie, I guess. I didn't love it.
So you were turned off by the
Yeah,
the
I just hated that that's what, you know, and they brushed over it. And it makes sense that it was kind of brushed over the way that Lucy's boss was just like, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it. Our lawyers, or, you know, it happens. You're not the first. This is not the first time it's happened. It's happened to me. Yeah. Where I'm just like, that's wild. Awful. I mean, honestly, it's not Lucy's fault. It's not even her boss's fault, but I also do wonder, what do you guys do to vet these people? You just take on clients, see what they want.
There's really no vetting process from what I see.
There should be some sort of like background check or whatever, or some safe space for people to have like dates or whatever. I don't know. It could happen at any point. You could vet them. They could be clean, and then they could just turn out to be a freaking... Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like there should be a better way, because once that was presented as what happens to Sophie, I was just like, did no one check into this guy? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't like it. It sucks that that's what had to give Lucy some personality. Like, I just...
give her some personality.
I don't know. I just, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get why you feel that way. That was my initial reaction, and then I started leaning more into, like, I don't think assault should be off the table in terms of depiction in a story, as long as you do it in a tasteful way. I'm leaning more towards, like, this might have been more tasteful than what I've seen in other movies before. But again, I've also never really experienced a situation like that either, so it's easy for me to say something like that. I'll respect any sort of positions that people take on this, because it's a really that's a dark subject matter to handle, and it's really easy to fuck up. And it's also very easy to just be like just gratuitous with it. It could easily just be an unnecessary thing, and you're just doing it for shock value.
Yeah, I don't know, and not that I wanted to know more exactly what happened. They really didn't get into it at all. I think what really just bothered me is, I guess, Lucy's boss and brushing over it. And
that was cold.
Don't talk to her. Don't contact her. Don't say anything. Don't speak about it with anyone.
Yeah.
I was like, how do we not speak about this? Like,
because it's just a business. They don't care about the people.
Yeah, they don't. But Lucy and Sophie seem to have a relationship for the most part. And even if that grew from Lucy having to match this woman up with like 50 guys, and they spent so much time trying to figure out who to match her with, a relationship still developed between these two women. And, you know, maybe Sophie sees her as a friend, maybe Lucy, I don't know, but they're in each other's lives, and Sophie's she was hurt. Yeah. She's clearly hurt. She blames Lucy, which I don't fully think is fair to blame Lucy.
I don't think it's really all on her.
Yeah, I don't think it's all on her, but she's hurt and she's upset, and she's right to feel that way.
Right.
But yeah, I don't like how it was brushed over and not addressed at all, especially because Lucy couldn't even talk to Harry about it. She couldn't even talk to her boss really about it. Her boss just like, take off some time. Like,
you're going through burnout. It happens to all of us. Just take 2 weeks off. You'll be fine.
I wouldn't know how to get back into matchmaking with someone, because I'd be worried that my next match is also going to be assalted.
And while that conversation's happening, there's just a celebration in the background erupting into the office.
So I think like, that's why I think that's why I hated the whole assault
plot line.
Yeah, because not enough was done about it. Not enough was done for Sophie, and I think that's what really bothered me.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. I think that's perfectly valid for sure. Now we're seeing Lucy, again, like we mentioned earlier, struggling with the news. It takes some time before she can finally talk to somebody about it, and it does end up being John. Yeah. And I think that conversation ends up leading to Lucy, again, being upright in bed and looking at Harry, seeing that he's just perfectly laid out on the bed, just comfortable sleeping. We've been seeing her physically distraught for like the last however many days,
and him not giving two shits or noticing. He's not even noticing.
We never see a scene where he notices that she's off and them having a conversation at all. I have no idea if they ever really talk about it. They never address it. It doesn't feel like they've ever talked about it, because then she's looking over at his legs again and then just trying to touch on his scars. And then you see that he's just like, don't touch me.
Yeah, he just like jumps up, and I was like, whoa, what happened? I was like, maybe Alvin's right about the heroin. Yeah.
Because he got really moody after that.
I know, he covers up, lays down, and then he gets up. He's like, you know what? And he puts on his pants, and he goes to the kitchen. Yeah. And I was like, huh? And then I was like, okay, we're going to get his background story. And
right.
Then we get a story, all right. So early in the movie, Lucy and her coworker were talking about what makes people valuable, things that people do to become more valuable, and the topic of, what is it?
Breaking your legs.
Oh, I was going to say tall girl surgery.
Tall girl surgery.
Yeah. Basically, breaking your legs to make yourself taller. It's an actual surgery. It's funny because I've seen videos on this like a couple years ago, where some guys have done this, and they say that their lives have changed dramatically. Like, more women look at them or look up at them, and it's just, I was not expecting him to have that be his secret. I don't know. And then, like, basically Lucy breaks up with him right after. He's like, it's because of the legs, and she's like, no. And I believe her. It's not because of the legs.
It's not. No.
But it's, I just thought that was really fun that was the secret. He's like, yeah, me and my brother did it. So I was just like, damn, that woman married a man with
Fake legs.
Fake legs. I mean, they're his legs. But that was just really interesting to me. How did you feel about his reveal? Did he seem less of a unicorn to you? Like, did his
He's
value
still
go
a
down?
fucking unicorn. His value just went exponentially up just by admitting the truth. Like, we all know it's fine. He still, like, checks off all the boxes. He's still a unicorn. The only thing is he just did some enhanced surgery that no one's really ever going to care about or notice. And like you mentioned, yeah, Lucy doesn't break up with him over the legs. The legs is just a reminder of why she feels she wants to break up with him, is because I got everything that I want here. And this is ultimately not really what I want. We don't have love on the table, and that's what I need.
Yeah.
She was not able to talk to him about any personal things like the Sophie story. And that ultimately is the reason why she ends the relationship. And Harry has this very interesting moment where he just kind of breaks down a little, and he just says, I feel like a child. I feel like I don't understand love. I don't even know if I'm capable of feeling that. And that again, that's one of those classic Celine song type of writings where the character just espouses exactly what they think is going on with them. And again, that could easily come off flat and boring, but it was surprisingly interesting because you don't see a rich, handsome, super powerful man breaking down and getting vulnerable like that typically on screen. I really appreciated the breakup for it being so just undramatic and I can't even think of any other words, but just for it to be so just direct and calm. I don't want to say casual because it wasn't a casual conversation. It was fairly heavy. The breakup scene I felt like just made sense to me at that point because she was just not looking happy anymore after the incident with Sophie. It changed a lot of her perspective on what she's ultimately looking for, which is now is she really wants love.
But she just shows up to John's and with her bags, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know how they were going to stay together in that janky ass apartment. Every time they cut to his
steps on
apartment,
a condom in the kitchen right outside his bedroom door, a used condom. Yeah.
I've never lived with random roommates, but based on what I've heard from my friends, this is really not far off from what I hear about the nightmare stories of living with other strangers.
Yuck.
Yeah. It looked cartoonish, but really that's the reality. Some people are really just that disheveled and unhinged and gross. Yeah, I had mixed feelings on the whole Lucy and John kind of ish getting together, but not really getting together. Like when they decided to crash a random wedding, I was like, wait, how did you even pull this off?
Yeah, just because he's like, oh, look, that's my catering job service
Maybe they'll
company.
let me go on.
Maybe, yeah. So they just follow it to this random place. And I was like, now the A24 is going to start. But they just crashed the wedding. They just sit quietly.
And yeah, they just observe the wedding, and then Lucy makes some very cryptic, pessimistic predictions on how that marriage is going to turn out.
I was like, y'all rude and disrespectful. Don't talk about these people like that.
It's like, that's your life, all right?
Yeah.
To focus on your life. Don't talk about other people.
It was a random thing. I like I said, I don't like that John has been waiting for her all these years. It seems like that's what's been going on, is that he's just been waiting for her. And they have this moment where they're dancing together. And I'm not sure how a wedding breaks down, but after the I do's, they have the little party thing and everybody's drinking and dancing. Ceremony, reception.
Yes.
I don't know, but yeah. So they're dancing, and there's like this moment that they have, and then John gets all upset. He's just like, what, you were just gonna hook up with me and then leave me like a floozy? And I was just like, wait, what?
That's exactly what he says. He calls Dakota Johnson a floozy.
Yeah, it was just really weird because I was just like, I thought this is what he wanted.
It is what he wants, but he also feels like he realizes that this is probably her just escaping and not really wanting something serious.
So
at least that's what I took away from that moment.
I'm glad you took something, because I was just like, I still don't know why she picked him. I mean, I know why. I get it. Her and Harry and the no love and the legs, and I get it.
The legs.
But it's just like, I'm not getting this one either, because he's broke. He's the same as he always been.
He does have a stipend. He's living off a stipend now off of his play.
Was he a grad student? They're like 35.
That's more money than he had 5 years ago. A couple years ago. I don't know when they broke up.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I'm glad you see the silver lining there. Yeah, I don't know. He just seems like he's the same. So if he didn't work for her then, I don't know how he's working for her now. If it's just really the love, but I'm also not seeing the love between them. I'm not seeing much of it.
Maybe it happens after Lucy gets a call from Sophie asking her to come back.
It doesn't.
You don't think that that's enough to prove that there's enough love?
Few solid Chris Evan Johns, but it's not enough. Yeah, it's.
Oh man.
They go back. They're an hour out from the city after Sophie calls, and it's just like the guy. I think his name was supposed to be Mark or something.
We got Mark P.
Mark P. He's like ringing off my doorbell. He wants to come in. He said he's not leaving. Yada yada yada.
And the police won't
come because he's not actively assaulting her again. She goes in, talks with Sophie. John stays out. Basically sleeps outside the whole.
That is the love that I'm talking about. This man sleeping out in the front steps.
What if Mark P would have got to him?
Well, then he beats his ass. He's Captain America. Who the fuck is a Mark P? Mark P is probably like 4'11".
I doubt it. I think Sophie has tall guy standards.
No, she gets tall guy standards, but she keeps getting short guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I just said why he stayed. That you let him stay out there all night. Like, could I?
He could have slept in the car.
See, he could have slept in the car.
I mean, that's his choice. That was his choice. He wanted to be on the steps.
What did you see? What did you see? Because I saw nothing, so we can't speak on nothing. What did you see, Alvin?
I saw at least some level of dedication. I see this man trying. He knows that he doesn't have everything together, but I at least at this point in the last quarter of the movie, I see that this John character is serious when he says, "When I see your face, I see gray hairs and I see children that look like you." Like he does love this woman, and he wants to prove that he can be there for her. And this, even though that they were having a fight at this moment, he was still willing to help Lucy and Sophie with their situation. I mean, I feel like there's no way to say no at that point. You're kind of like the only ride over there. But he didn't seem to mind that at all. He wasn't upset about that at all. Even though I feel like it's very plot devicey. Like, I don't know if they would have made amends if this Sophie call didn't happen and they just spent the rest of the night at the wedding. I don't know what the conversation would have looked like. I don't know if they would have still ended up together without this situation. But at least with this situation, it kind of shows John's dedication to be like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make you happy and make this work. So I'm going to spend the whole night on these steps here while you comfort your friend and see what you can do about a restraining order. Because then right after, when the morning comes, they kind of just decide that, yeah, they're going to be together. I mean, his monologue wasn't very convincing. I'll say that. It's like, I'm going to love you today like I did yesterday, and I'm going to do it for now and forevermore. Whatever the fuck he said. I don't remember.
You remember something.
I remember something. His monologue wasn't like the most convincing thing. I still was just like, I still don't fully buy. I get why you want this woman. I believe you. I believe that you want this woman. I just don't believe that Lucy would still be deciding on like, yes, I want to try this again with you, John. With all the stuff that they fought about before, stuff that's still probably going to be important to her. I couldn't see the major shift in their relationship.
She has money now to take care of him. Because, I mean, look at her apartment.
Yeah, she's not a wannabe actor anymore.
Yeah.
Or a struggling actor, I should say. That was mean.
So... I don't know.
I will agree. I don't think there was enough for me to get behind. Like, yes, you should pick John. I was in the mentality of like, you should be single. You need to just go be friends with Sophie and hang out. You need a fucking friend. You need friends. I think that's ultimately what she really needed.
That's where you start.
That's really where you would start. And I feel like Celine Song wanted to write this ending because I get what she's trying to do. She's trying to say love needs to be on the table. Like the material stuff, some of that is important to some aspect, but it can't be the main thing. And that's kind of what the ending was trying to do. But I just didn't buy it with the John character very much. There's just so much baggage still. There's so much, I feel like, healing and stuff that has to happen between these two characters before they can really seriously decide, let's start again.
Because that's like a big thing is that flashback they had where she was just like, you're going to hate me and I'm going to basically like hate you or resent you. We don't have any money. Yeah, he's got his stipend. We get it. And who knows how
That'll
much
run
time.
dry.
That'll run dry, but yeah, and it was really funny because at the end he goes to like this food stand and he gives the guy like a 20. He's like, "Keep the change." It's like, "Oh, you big spender now!" Like, what?
I would have gone back and be like, "Just kidding. Actually, I really need this. I need to make rent."
Yeah, I don't know. It really doesn't seem like it's what she wants. Just because I'm not seeing the actual love. I'm not seeing that romantic relationship. I'm not seeing the reason for. I don't see his reason for really want to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. They didn't build anything to let me know like why, and what they build with her, I can't understand why she would want to be with him still. Because it seems like it would have been the same issues, but it's just like, okay, now you're in a good place. Who's to say that you won't have new financial issues where you feel like you are supporting this guy who's still trying to be an actor, or I don't know, whatever he wants to do. And like I said, they're like 35, 36-ish or whatever, who knows? And this is clearly not have been working out for him for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to turn into an issue. I feel like that would turn into an issue, but no. They get a marriage license. And
yes, I thought that was very interesting. They just sped to the not even a first date. They just, I mean, I guess they did a date and then they're just like, all right, engaged. All right, now married.
Didn't even get her a rock. Even a nice teeny tiny rock, you know, a flower that will die. A picked flower is a dying flower.
Damn, bars.
So, I don't get it, but I did like the movie. I had fun. I enjoyed it, but there were just a lot of things that didn't really work. And the more I think about it, it still just doesn't work. And I can understand how people are divided. I can understand how people feel like this is not what you advertised, or you advertised something completely different. People thought they were gonna, I don't know, whatever Blake Lively said, get your florals and your girlfriends and have some fun. And it was just like, no, the funnest part was Pedro, and Pedro telling me that I had value. I mean, that Lucy had value. And yeah.
Now, I want to ask, do you think that this movie is broke man propaganda? I'll say right now, I've never come across that term until this movie came out.
Yeah.
And then I quickly I came to the conclusion, I'm just like, we didn't watch the same movie, did we? You think that this is broke man propaganda? You think she chose broke man over rich man? That was the story.
Okay, is there such thing as rich man propaganda?
That's literally most of the time we get that. Look at Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman, she ends up with the rich guy.
Yeah.
There's so many rom-coms that end up with like Crazy Rich Asians. That's rich person propaganda, right?
Oh yeah, broke girl propaganda. Is that a thing? I don't know. Am I not being a feminist for saying that? I don't think so. I'm gonna say no because that's not what I was thinking right off the bat. I can't understand why she picked the broke guy. Still, I can understand why she didn't stay with the rich guy. I can understand it, but I don't understand how she got back with the broke guy. I don't think it's broke man propaganda or whatever it is called, but I just feel like the movie was lacking. I don't think it put all of its pieces. I think it had too many pieces. It didn't pick the right pieces, and it didn't fluff those pieces properly to give a good story, because what the movie was like 2 hours long, almost 2 hours. Maybe it needed the 2 hours. I can't remember if it was. Maybe it needed 2 hours, but I just feel like it was just lacking in some parts emotionally, and building the characters. Building and connecting the characters is my problem with it. I don't care if she picks the broke guy. She could pick the broke guy, but he has to have changed. She has to have changed, and I have to see a future for them. I don't see it. I don't get it, and that's like my main problem. If she stayed with Harry, I could have seen her future. She would have been lonely and miserable. She would have had everything that she wanted, but there would have been no love there. Or it could have been they grow to love each other. He grows to love her. Or he doesn't. He grows to, I don't know, have a mistress that he falls in love with because he finally found love, the love that he couldn't figure out. Could have gone so many different ways. I could see so many different scenarios with her and Harry. But with her and John, I'm just like, he's still the same. I feel like she's evolved and bettered herself, at least financially. Now she can look for someone, but they leave her stuck on John, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is. I think this is just, it was supposed to be about love, and the love was lacking. So I think that's where some people get confused and be like, she picked the broke guy or whatever. You can love a broke person.
Yeah, there's broke couples all the time that make it work.
And they make it work. Will it be easy? No, it's going to be hard sometimes, and they're probably going to fight about money. Doesn't mean that the love's not there. But I wouldn't call this movie broke man propaganda. I think that's I think people are just really upset about what was presented to them. I think that we had our boxes checked for this movie. and it didn't turn out how we wanted. I think
the
that's
meta. She hit us with the meta, guys. Wow.
no, really. I think we saw that we were just like we want a Pedro, and we want a Captain America in there too.
We want some nice cinematography.
Yeah,
glitzy,
and a Coke ad. We want all this stuff, and we want to seem like the girl that has it going for her, and we have these two guys, and then we sit down, we watch the movie, and it's not quite like that, you know, and that's okay. It did not. All our boxes were not checked, so we just gotta wait for the next rom-com, not dramedy. Dramedy is what they called it, or something. Yeah. I don't know. You either have like a rom-dram. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
It sounds stupid. A rom-dram.
Romantic drama, yeah.
Or a rom-com. But I think to do a rom-dramedy, I don't know. It clearly didn't work for people. Some people were upset. Yeah. Do you feel like this was broke man propaganda? This fun term you found on the interwebs?
All right. I'm going to burst everyone's bubbles right now. All right. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you, everyone that's saying that this is broke man propaganda, you do not understand what you just watched. You just did not. This is not broke man propaganda. Show me a single movie that is broke man propaganda. I can name like 10,000 just like rich man propagandas right now, right off the bat.
Give me one.
No. It's just not. That's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie isn't I have to find someone without money in order to find love. It's I need to find love. I need to get back to finding love. That is what I've forgotten. That's what I needed. That's what I missed. I'm finding it in this person who happens to be kind of broke. He has a stipend. I know that's a technicality. I keep going back to that.
Stuck on his stipend.
Listen, I'm an artist, okay?
Oh my god. Same here, but damn, a stipend ain't shit.
No, but even if you didn't have the stipend, it's just the point isn't she chose this man because he's fucking broke. She chose this man because this is someone that she could open up to, that she could never have with somebody like a Harry. She'll never have that kind of intimacy with a rich person. Rich people are abnormal. They're just... Once you get to a certain threshold of money, you just get all this power, all this attention, all this influence that it just turns you into like this inhuman thing where you're just so just indifferent to people's needs, wants, sufferings. Rich people are just not good people. Like I love Pedro, like his character is like cool and handsome and all, but let's be real. Is he a good person? He's someone that contributes to the whole problem of dating in this movie, particularly in this story. Hyper-capitalism, like late-stage capitalism, really messes with the dating world. You have to worry about what affordable dates you can have. Going to the movies, you're paying $20 for just one ticket. Like, there's so many things wrong with the dating world that has to do directly with, like, the economy just constantly just, like, everything is inflating. And you see all these rich people, they're just hoarding all this wealth, which then causes everything to go up for us, the working poor people. It's just like where in this world, like in the movie or in real life, do you see that she should be choosing the guy that's ruining everything? The one that's creating, not directly, but he's helping facilitate the conditions of what happened with Sophie. The reason why she ended up in a situation like that, because she's trying to use a dating service that really only focuses on getting its money's worth and then only celebrating the victories. It's just like with dating apps. There's a reason why these apps and these services don't go away. They're not meant for you to find your match, because if everybody found their matches, they'd be out of business.
Yeah.
They're in the business of being in business. They're in the business of you staying single. And for Lucy to choose someone like a Harry in this situation, I feel like would just completely just topple over the whole message that it's trying to come to, which is people need to focus on love. And yes, there are other conditions that need to be met as well. But love has to be the focus. Otherwise, everything else is just meaningless. That's what she comes to. I don't see anywhere in this movie where it's broke man propaganda. I don't. She could choose like another broke guy that's a complete fucking asshole, and then that wouldn't be the solution.
Yeah.
So the solution is you got to be cave people. All right, we got to go back to the caveman times, because the movie, like, for some reason wants to bookend on the cave people.
The movie. We watched it. No,
I don't know. The cave people had it right. It's just hunt food, pick flowers, and then mate. That's all you had to do.
That's all they had to do. This is so stupid. Yeah, the movie. Well, I literally thought we walked into the wrong movie when this movie started.
Yeah, when I saw the cave people show up, I'm like, It did say Auditorium 11.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to. I was like, are you sure it wasn't, the Dolby one?
I'm like, I'm not aware of no caveman movies.
Yeah, that was...
I think those scenes were just trying to juxtapose how simple it was when pairings used to be much more simpler, and then now it's like all these extra steps.
You like a cave woman, you pick her flowers, you bring her flowers, you trade tools. You tool her.
You have the love and the necessities.
And then at the end you guys are with baby and happy. And
though I will say, I don't think cave people were monogamous. That's just a recent invention. Like everyone was fucking everyone.
Okay, because I was sitting there, I'm just like,
I was waiting for him to have like six
a
other
cave
wives
across the across the way there. Yeah, no.
So the answer is also polyamory.
Yeah, that was
funny.
stupid.
That just, it threw me off. It just didn't look right. I was just like, what's happening here?
I'm mad that they went back to it at the end of the movie. I was just like, okay. I totally forgot about it. They didn't have to show anything. I wouldn't even have been like, wait, what about the cave people? What happened with them?
The cave people are crucial. It's a crucial plot point.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, this was like a strong baked potato movie.
Oh, yeah, yes. I was just like, what does that mean? I can't even like lie and call it loaded and give it to Pedro. It was a bake. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't awful. Yeah. I baked and baked potato.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's 2 baked potatoes from us. Let us know in the comments below. Is this broke man propaganda? Even though we know you're wrong. Don't say yes. Don't do it. Just let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know if you've watched this movie, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you're in between. So let us know your recommendations for your favorite rom-coms or rom-droms in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, hit notification bells, share this with your rich boyfriend, your broke boyfriend, your client, your shitty boss, and your cave people.
Cave people.
Yes.
Cave people's bitches.
Exactly. Yes. And with that, we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.